Okay, good evening, everyone. It's 5:30 on the clock. It's the West Fargo Planning and Zoning Commission meeting for Tuesday, July 14th. I'll call the meeting to order, and it looks like everyone's here, but Brianna, maybe we should do a quick roll call of attendance.
Okay, second. Commissioner Schwan?
Here.
Commissioner Fornes?
Here.
Commissioner Weary?
Here.
Chair Thursday?
Here.
Vice Chair Gus?
Present.
Commissioner Knopf?
Here.
Commissioner Cox?
Here.
Commissioner Allen? Here. Thank you.
All right. Item B is the approval of the order agenda. Are there any additions, corrections, deletions? Staff?
Move to approve as printed.
Got a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Pose same sign. Motion carries. Item C is the approval of the minutes of the June 9th, 2026 meeting.
Move to approve.
Got a motion to approve on that. Second, anyone?
Second.
Second. Any additional comments? All in favor of approving the minutes, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Under the regular agenda, the first item is a public hearing, number A26-11, McMahon Estates First Subdivision, a request for conditional use permit, CUP, for a detached accessory structure at 133 48th Avenue East, Lot 7, Block 1, McMahon Estates First Subdivision. Lisa.
Thank you. This application was received in order to allow for an accessory structure greater than 1,000 square feet in an R1E real estate zoning district as a conditional use. The applicant has submitted a site plan showing a 1,920 square foot accessory structure in the rear yard. Last fall, a 1,300 square foot structure was approved to the south in McMahon Estates third edition. Other structures previously approved in McMahon Estates second, third, and fourth developments have been 1,600 to 2,200 square feet. The applicant indicated that the structure would be built with similar siding to match the exterior of the existing house and be used for personal storage. A conditional use permit agreement is required to be signed prior to issuance of a conditional use permit and may include conditions deemed appropriate by the commission. Notices were published in the forum and sent to property owners within 350 feet, as well as applicable departments and agencies. A call was received from a property owner asking for more information, and a letter of support was received prior to the publication of the agenda packet. An email was received this morning and provided to you with concerns regarding the size of the structure not being consistent with the restrictive covenants for McMahon Estates First Edition. The proposal is consistent with the city's comprehensive plan and other applicable city plans, as the proposed structure is accessory to an existing residential use and does not conflict with the comprehensive plan. Staff recommends that the city approve the proposed conditional use permit application on the basis it is consistent with city plans and ordinances subject to the following conditions. The accessory structure is constructed of the same color and materials as the primary residential structure, and a signed conditional use permit agreement is received. This is a public hearing. I'm available to answer any questions, and I believe the applicant is here as well.
Okay, thank you, Lisa. Is there any questions for Lisa before we open up the public hearing?
Lisa, are there covenants in McMahon's edition?
I believe there were when it was established years ago. Restrictive covenants go above and beyond city regulations, so it's up to the individual property owners, whether there's an association or not, to enforce those covenants. The R1E district regulations just mention that they can apply for conditional use permit provided it is in character with the development pattern of the subdivision. We have approved accessory structures in second, third, and fourth edition across the river. In the second edition, we approved a 1,800 square foot structure and a 2,200 square foot structure in 2020 and 2025.
So any of that kind of regulation would come from the HOA?
or individual property owners.
Any additional questions for Lisa? Hearing none, this is a public hearing. We will open up the public hearing. If you'd like to make a comment, please step up to the microphone and state your name and address for the record. Is there any public comment on this item? Are there any public comments? Third and final time, any public comments on this item? Hearing none, seeing none, we'll bring it back to the board. Are there any additional questions or comments on this item? Hearing none, I'd entertain a motion.
Motion to approve with the conditions listed?
Okay, we got a motion to approve by Chris with the conditions. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Melissa. Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve it with the conditions listed. Any additional thoughts? Hearing none, Brianna, if you could do a roll call vote?
Commissioner Schwan?
Yes.
Commissioner Fornes?
Yes.
Commissioner Weary?
Yes.
Chair Thorsted?
Yes.
Vice Chair Gust?
Aye.
Commissioner Hodge, excuse me. Commissioner Kopp?
Yes.
Commissioner Amon? Yes. Thank you.
Okay, motion carries. Item number 2 on the regular agenda is a public hearing A 26-12, North Pond at the Preserve 19th Edition. A request for a retracement plat at 350 23rd Avenue East, lots 1, 4, and 5, Block 1, North Pond at the Preserve 15th Edition. Lisa.
Thank you. This application was received in order to reconfigure 3 lots into 5 for better design and marketability. In 2022, this property was platted from 1 lot into 5 with private drives for light commercial development. A preliminary site plan shows 2 existing medical office buildings along the north side of the development. Access from 23rd consists of 2 existing private drives running north and south, which include placement of private utilities. A new subdivision agreement is needed to provide details regarding the long-term maintenance of the private drives, information on stormwater, sewer and water services, etc. Additional right-of-way is needed along 23rd Avenue East to accommodate a future sidewalk along the north side of 23rd Avenue. 10 additional feet of right-of-way is proposed along with a new 10-foot public utility easement adjacent to the new right-of-way. There are 2 existing monument signs that will be partially located within the area of the new right-of-way and public utility easement. An encroachment agreement will be needed to document the existing sign and detail mutually agreed-upon provisions for sign maintenance, future right-of-way needs, and related responsibilities between the 2 parties. Hearing notices were published in the official paper, and information was sent to applicable agencies and departments. No comments have been received to date. It is recommended that the city approve the proposed subdivision on the basis that is consistent with city plans and ordinances, subject to the following: that a signed subdivision improvement agreement is received prior to the final plat approval. This is a public hearing, and the applicant is available to answer any questions, as am I.
Okay, thank you, Lisa. Is there any questions for Lisa before we open up the public comment section? Hearing none, this is a public hearing, and again, if you'd like to speak, please come to the microphone and state your name and address. Is there any public comment on this item? Is there any public comment? Third and final time, is there any public comment on this item? Seeing none, we'll close that portion, bring it back to the commission here. Is there any additional questions, comments, thoughts?
Move to approve on the conditions listed.
Got a motion by Matt to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Dave. Any additional thoughts, questions? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Schwan?
Yes.
Commissioner Fornes?
Yes.
Commissioner Weary?
Yes.
Chair Thorsted?
Yes.
Vice Chair Gust?
Aye.
Commissioner Hodge?
Yes.
Commissioner Kopp?
Yes.
Commissioner Amon? Yes. Thank you.
Motion carries. Item number 3 is a continuation of a public hearing from June 9th, 2026 meeting. This is A26-9 Growth Area Plan, consideration of approval and adoption. Aaron.
Thank you. So like was just stated, item 3 is consideration of approval of the West Fargo Growth Area Plan, which was continued from last month. Including in your meeting packet is the final version of the Growth Area Master Plan document, as well as an executive summary of the plan. The purpose of this item is step 1 of a 2-step process to formally adopt the West Fargo Growth Area Master Plan as an addendum to the city's comprehensive plan. This will be done in accordance with North Dakota Century Code. This project originally kicked off in February of 2025 with the ultimate goal of producing a plan to strategically guide the city's future development within the extraterritorial area upon completion of the FM diversion project and the subsequent remapping of the floodplain. To this end, the city has worked over the past 18 months with the city's project consultant, HKGI, to develop and finalize the plan document included in your packet here tonight. This process included an assessment of existing conditions and issues, integration of past planning studies, fiscal assessment of growth scenarios, collaboration with city staff, and input from countless stakeholders, including landowners, partner agencies, city boards and commissions, development community, and the general public, through various meetings, roundtable discussions, as well as a couple of public open houses. The Planning and Zoning Commission itself had 3 different touch points throughout various stages of this project, most recent of which I think was about a month ago. Here tonight, participating virtually, we have Kevin Clark, co-project manager from HKGI. Kevin will present an overview of the Growth Area Master Plan, or Growth Area Plan, and will be available for general discussion and questions afterwards, as will I. Following this general discussion, the requested action tonight is to hold the public hearing, to approve the resolution of adoption, which is also included in your meeting packet, and then to recommend approval of the plan to the City Commission. So with that, I'm happy to answer any initial questions Planning and Zoning Commissioners might have. Otherwise, I can certainly hand things off to Kevin to lead us through a brief presentation, and we can follow up with discussion afterwards as well.
Any questions for Aaron before Kevin takes over?
Aaron, was there any recent changes from the last draft we would have seen? You said there was a few things you guys were tweaking at the last meeting we had.
Yeah, well, that's a great question and something I should have probably noted. So the plan document is largely the same from what was presented last month. The biggest changes have been in the implementation chapter. There was some cleanup work primarily with the action steps. So some of the, I think the last couple of slides that Kevin will present will focus in on those changes. Other than that, I think 95% of the document is the same. So unless there's any other questions, I'll hand things off to Kevin.
All right. Great. Thank you, Aaron. And thank you, commissioners, for the opportunity to talk tonight. As Aaron had mentioned, I know that this group has had a number of chances to kind of check in on this, including a review of the document a month ago. I will try to kind of just real quickly cover at a real high level most of those pieces, picking up, as Aaron mentioned, on the some of those implementation pieces and focusing a little more on that. Knowing there's a lot more in 138-page document than we can cover in just a few minutes, so happy to answer questions at the end of it. So. A reminder that this document covers a lot of information ranging from vision and land use, parks and recreation with partnership with the Park District, transportation needs, infrastructure, utilities, and then the phasing and financial analysis of that development, and looking at implementation and what are the next steps, where do we go from here with the plan. Primarily looking at this area that is, for the most part, within the protected area of the new diversion, a little bit extending out on 94 on the other side, with more of a secondary look at the larger area beyond that. So, in terms of vision and future land use, plan was developed that helps us understand what are the upcoming needs in terms of residential development, commercial development, industrial development, based on projections that have been done, as well as historic growth. when we're looking at an area this big, inevitably some of these things will shift over time. But largely, a lot of the kind of primary nodes, those areas that you see that have more commercial focus, more kind of high density areas, are largely centered around some of the transportation corridors where they all come together. So, looking a little closer at where we expect to see things happening in the short term. Some of those proposals you might see coming forward sooner than later. Primarily anticipating change along the County Road 17 corridor, based largely on the existence of existing infrastructure there, and the ability to grow in that direction without massive levels of kind of infrastructure pieces. We also thought it was informative to include the Fargo plans for the areas on their side of the city limits, and try to make sure that the land uses that we're anticipating and planning for generally line up and are in alignment with what they are seeing as future growth on that side of town. The other kind of large piece that we anticipate happening fairly soon is the lagoon properties. So with the city's ownership of those, the city has more tools available to kind of shape what that development looks like. Focusing on some commercial and a lot of industrial uses in these areas. 12th Avenue will be, I think, an important transportation corridor along those lines for movement of goods, movement of people. And the graphic that you see down at the bottom is really more about illustrating kind of the character. How do we get some of those back of house uses, the loading, the docks in more of a centralized location, and bringing those buildings and their finishes more to the front. So as people are moving through the corridors, that's what they're seeing. So, and that will be tied to additional transportation improvements that'll be necessary in order to kind of make this function and work well over the long term. On the Parks and Recreation side, there's the diagrams, that park development framework that you see that looks at how are we connecting those neighborhood parks, how are we connecting larger potential park plays, thinking about some of the greenway pieces, and then from the Planning Commission perspective, one of the things that will likely be coming to the forefront is that question of when we're accepting parkland through the form of dedication, how do we make sure that that parkland that we're accepting is something that will continue to serve the city well over the long term. So a preference for parkland that has public frontage on it, that has good views into it, that has trail connectivity to some of those other neighborhoods, that includes features that the residents are going to want to use. What we're trying to stay away from is sort of this down the corner section that has kind of the flag lot piece is disconnected. And what we found is that when these kinds of parks happen, largely the people whose backyards back up to them are able to use the park, but they don't really serve the greater community or even the greater neighborhood beyond those that are immediately adjacent to them. On the transportation side of things, a pretty extensive trail network that a lot of this was pulled together based on the land use planning, but also a number of other studies that have been done over the years in this area, planning for transportation, commercial, and arterial roadways. From the Planning Commission perspective, one of the important pieces will be making sure that as development is occurring, that we're preserving enough right of way to include additional lanes of roadways, trails, knowing that when you look at some of these places now, they may be, a dirt road on a section line. But as the city continues to grow and expand, some of these transportation corridors are going to be handling, 10,000 residents who are making multiple trips a day. coming up and down them. So being sure to, that future development preserves these corridors. Some of them are happening on section lines, some of them happening, as the spine road through the south area, or some of the curves that happen that respond to the diversion as well. On the utilities and infrastructure side, we also know that there's going to be potable water concerns, and that Casserole Water anticipates being able to service a lot of this, as well as sewer concerns. So making sure that as development occurs, we're being thoughtful about how we are investing in those, not necessarily getting too far out ahead of ourselves on paying for those pipes that are going into the ground. With, in general, the sewer system working its way to the northeast portion of the site, where it is transferred to the city of Fargo and their water services, or their sanitary sewer areas. Beyond just that physical infrastructure, the pipes, the roads, we know that if the city is going to add, the city was 15,000 people just a couple decades ago, around 40 now, likely to grow to 60 by, within another 2 decades, 25 years. The city is going to need not just the physical infrastructure, but those additional services. So fire stations, police and public safety, public works, and that's, snow plows and people to drive them, and to take care of all the stuff that's going in. Sanitation, solid waste services, administrative and support services will be continuing to grow as the city continues to grow as well. And it will be important that the city maintains kind of an ongoing understanding of that growth. How rapid is it happening? What are we doing in terms of our infrastructure? What do the utility customer counts look like? Or how much new road are we building? How many people have moved to town? How many building permits are we bringing in? Thinking about the emergency response time metrics that occur in these new growth areas on the west side of town. So I know that a number of folks have seen the phasing and financial analysis piece. Different stakeholders who we've talked to through the process had different intention or different impressions about what land they thought would be best to develop first. So through the financial analysis summary, we looked at 2 scenarios. One that scenario A really had to bring most of that sewer all the way around to get south of where 94 is, in between 94 and the diversion. The scenario B really looked at how do we grow incrementally, starting from that the north area, and try to grow down towards the Raymond interchange over time. As you can see in the phasing summary, the benefit of growing incrementally from the north is, one, it's a less risky proposition. 2, there's significantly less initial financial outlay. When we look at the financials, both scenarios do provide positive benefit to the city, but even that kind of initial piece where we're growing from the north has a slightly higher payoff. So, we're anticipating that from a phasing perspective, a lot of the growth that you're going to be seeing over the next couple of decades will be on the north side of 94. We know that does represent a mindset shift for some people, but there are a number of reasons kind of in play that get outlined in the plan that makes more sense and is a better approach for the city. As mentioned, the financial analysis pieces, it is just much more challenging to finance and pay for that significant infrastructure outlay initially that was outlined in scenario A. And it also does leave the city in a more risky position where if if the pace of development slows, recognizing that a lot of other cities in the area are also seeing land come out of the floodplain and will have land to develop. That if that development pace is slower, then we may be on the hook for continuing to pay the debt on the spending to happen to get that infrastructure into place. Focusing a little more on the implementation, certainly the city of West Fargo, and that's staff, but also elected and appointed officials. You all, as sort of the keeper of the vision, bringing this plan forward. We know that it's going to take all those agency partners. There are a lot of folks that have interest in this area that have different roles to play in terms of making sure that this growth area is, a great community, including people that are going to be building it from the development community, as well as citizens and residents. So, thinking about what we anticipate in the next kind of 12 to 24 months, these are the things that this group should anticipate different conversations happening about, different proposals coming forward. A comprehensive code update, so looking at zoning language, subdivision ordinance, some of the financing tools that are in place, making sure that the regulations that the city has in order to protect itself and in order to ensure the health and safety of the community are going to be the right tools for making sure that this growth area is developed in a sustainable and in a way that continues to work for the city, not just immediately but over the long term. Anticipate a lot more upcoming conversation about the lagoon strategy and how that site gets a little further defined and gets to a shovel-ready point where it's ready to go out for likely an RFP or an RFI to the development community. Continuing to think about transportation planning. Transportation planning moves slow, and particularly with the Department of Transportation work, the federal funding that needs to happen from an interchange perspective, getting out ahead of that is going to be pretty important because it does take quite a bit of time for those plans to come together and for the funding to get put together as well. Utility planning and capacity, knowing that there's some of this is city stuff, some of this is going to be on the sewer side related also to some of the neighboring jurisdictions and communities, and making sure that as we move forward with development in this area that the utilities are able to keep up without getting too far out ahead of ourselves. We also anticipate kind of ongoing conversation about what funding for this new development looks like, what tools are in place, the hookup fees, the other impact fees that are out there, requiring fiscal impact analysis as projects come forward in this area, making sure that at the end of the day, the costs associated with development out here are being accurately reflected, and that the city is not carrying an undue burden related to that future development. And then lastly, the annexation framework, updates to current agreements, making sure that those are all in place. In a couple of years, as the FEMA flood maps come off, the city will likely be off to the races again. So in some ways, kind of on the clock now in terms of getting a lot of these basic kind of background pieces in place so that when development pressure is ready to go, that the city is able to kind of match the speed and intensity of what that will look like. So, We looked at, a lot of those pieces in terms of the next year to 2 years are coming out of what are larger kind of ongoing growth area plan strategies. So the reviewing and updating the official controls, developing and monitoring those, the growth indicators, keeping track of what development is looking like, what's happening, how are we doing in terms of utility users, in terms of roads that we're building, in terms of lots that are getting approved and built. Ensuring that as development is occurring, that those transportation corridors that we discussed earlier are being preserved. Thinking about the plan for parks, trails, and open space, ensuring that the parks that are dedicated or the ones that, maybe purchased in the future or are part of kind of the larger park development pieces, that land for those as well as funding related to that is being set aside. Looking at the use of regional stormwater basins, so for more efficient, more compact development, thinking about how regional stormwater basins can help facilitate that, and the patterning can be more efficient and from a development perspective, and then coordinating with adjacent jurisdictions. So that's adjacent cities, but that's also a lot of the other groups that will have a stake in what's happening. The park district, the school district, Casserole Water, a lot of these different groups. So thinking about where the this group fits into that in terms of seeing this plan from the document that you see in front of you to the reality of what the city is going to look like in 2050. How do we keep true to that vision? How do we keep seeing this plan into a reality? It will be your role to ask some of the challenging questions of the development community proposing projects. Lots of times the city's goals and the development community's goals may dovetail and will work well together, but there will be times that they don't. And thinking about, are these projects that are getting proposed that are coming through in your packets going to strengthen West Fargo in both the short term and the long term? What does it mean for us tomorrow? What does it mean for us 25, 30 years down the line when we're going to have to replace some of this infrastructure and some of these things that have been put in? As well as making sure that the plans that you're seeing are not going to cause West Fargo problems down the road. So the preservation of right-of-way, the maintainable parks that we talked about, and then thinking about commercial land uses. So commercial tends to follow rooftops. They're not usually out in front, but they're going to want some of those kind of key corners on intersections where they've got high traffic, they've got high visibility. And if some of that land isn't preserved for commercial uses, some of the residential uses are going to be happy to come in and take that, but you're not going to have that availability of the land where they want to be in the long term. So conversely, it's also about supporting and advancing the projects that will help the community move forward. That's the lagoon properties that will be likely a big focus of this group for the next couple of years. Development projects that are going to bring jobs, are going to bring tax base, and they're going to bring population and new neighbors. And the ones that can do it in a financially sustainable way, it's important that those are supported. And then using that plan to weigh trade-offs. So any development that comes in is going to have things that align really well and work really well for the city and for the developer, and then other things that are going to present challenges. So using the plan to evaluate those trade-offs and guide the city to ultimately a stronger future as this area continues to develop and the city continues to grow. So with that, I'm happy to take any questions, or Aaron, if there's anything that you would like to add. Otherwise, thank you very much for your time and attention tonight.
Thanks, Kevin. So yeah, the last thing I'll add is just a thank you to the Planning and Zoning Commission, community members, all those that have been involved and provided some input into this document. It's been a long time coming and really a large undertaking. And so it's really exciting to see this plan make it to this point. So again, with that, happy to answer any questions. Otherwise, this is a public hearing item.
Okay, you got any questions for either Aaron or Kevin?
Yeah, I mean, this is a general document, and I just saw something specific. I didn't see anything about the West Fargo Airport in there. And, you know, I would have some concerns about, you know, the north end of it, if there was a great deal of development off the approach and takeoff end of that. That would cause problems almost immediately. You'd start getting people complaining about low-flying aircraft and that, and it just, you know, it's something that needs to be preserved so that you don't have future problems with that, if your, in fact, intention is to keep that West Fargo Airport. But that, again, that's a city position, and you know, I don't know, Kevin, where that would fall under the guise of what you're doing here. But, I mean, there would need to be a corridor to the north of that would need to probably not be developed.
Yeah, I can start to answer that one. So the airport was kind of admittedly a little bit outside of the scope of work for this project. It is very general in nature, as you observed. You know, it is intended to be an addendum to the comprehensive plan. Comprehensive plan currently looks internal to the, you know, within the city's existing city limits. This document complements the existing comprehensive plan by looking outside of city limits. And so very comprehensive in nature, covers a lot of different topics. Unfortunately, the airport did come up in several conversations, but there was a decision that we just need to kind of focus our efforts on some of these main topics and, you know, not necessarily kick the can, but just recognize that the airport exists today and it's something that we'll need to contend with into the future as we grow into this area. So there is a lot of that. There is a lot of kind of next steps. There's a lot of work yet to be done. And so I don't want to, you know, create any, you know, false impressions that this solves all the problems or anything like that. It really is a jumping off point for a lot of different things.
Any additional questions?
What did the builders say about building north? Because it seems everything's set.
Yeah, so we had a couple of developer roundtable discussions with the development community. The folks that were in attendance, you know, there's, I think, a desire that the city has historically grown southwest as a metro in general. That's kind of the natural area people think about when they think about this area and future development. However, there are very large barriers and hurdles to development in the southwest area. And so the perception of the development community was, you know, the area northwest, you know, it's kind of got an industrial flavor right now, and so there probably needs to be, it was more of a discussion, you know, what is that tipping point at which, you know, the perception in general changes, and we do start to see that transition to, you know, more commercial, residential uses up in the northwest area, whether that be, you know, future school investments, for example, or an anchor tenant of some type at some point, or just, you know, as development slowly occurs, you know, people just start to kind of think more about that area a little bit differently. So there was a kind of that perception of the northwest versus the existing south side and the different land uses that are there today, for sure.
Any other questions? Okay, this is a public hearing, continuation from the June meeting. Is there any public comment on this item? Is there any public comment? Is there any public comment? Seeing none, we'll close that part of the,
I have some.
okay, I'm sorry, ma'am.
Hi.
Please step up and give
Who
your,
do I ask the questions to? Council? Can I'm Juliet Wanzik, Everest, landowner west, and when you refer to 17, is that the off of I-94? Interstate 94 going south?
Is that County Road 17?
Aaron? And then who's this gentleman that's been on the screen? What's his position?
So Kevin is a consultant working on behalf of the city.
Okay,
County Road 17 is north of town.
north of town. So I'm here, and you and I spoke on the phone. I'm Juliet, nice to see you.
You too.
So my question is, when you all say that you're under agreement that you think that the city of West Fargo should grow northward, and your reasoning for that on the zoning and planning is not south because of, what was that interpretation? I missed that. Why south is a problem?
Would you like me to respond?
Sure. One of the issues with growing south is that in general, the sewer capacity is pretty much maxed at this point, as well as a lot of the transportation corridor networks that
Okay.
are available there. Let's see if I can pull up a map of land use here. Are going to be pretty challenging. That the upcoming interchange with 94 south of the fair is still probably 15 to 20 years out from being funded and coming to fruition. So really, any development that's in the south is going to need an extension of sewer that will basically wrap around from the north area. Around the community, and then all the way to connect back into that south area. And then right now with a lot of the development that's happened to the south, those connections out from the neighborhoods that are that are in between Veterans and the Cheyenne diversion right now.
Right.
A lot of those intersections are currently at the point where they're pretty close to failing, if not failing already, and adding a lot more residents in that area who are either going to have to get out of their neighborhoods through those intersections or drive 2 to 3 miles back to the northwest in order to get on 94 at the Raymond interchange to come back into town.
Okay. So Kevin, so my question is exit 342. Do you refer that as the Raymond Exchange? Okay. So my question is, I understand about South Fargo and Veterans Boulevard and it's the capacity. What are your plans? What's your vision for the Raymond Exchange, me being a landowner on that exit 342 on the corner of
Sure.
about 11 acres? So my question for my family and all the members is, what is the plan for Raymond 342? I saw the original planning file that was 500 pages thick, planning and zoning.
Yeah.
And I know that has developed and deviated from that. And then, of course, as we all learn about capacity and growth and development and how the city is going to grow, and you know, you're all very smart people, right? Trying to plan and have a perspective on the future of who's going to live here, where are they going to want to live, what kind of services do the people need. It's going to grow and grow. So the growth that you experienced on Cheyenne, I see coming very quickly on Raymond. Right, so like going west, and then you're saying going north. But are you saying that you're going to have all the lagoons on the north side, so families would live amongst the lagoons? In that kind of projected upgrade community? Because I remember where the lagoons are. Are they just going to be expanded? Is that north of the railroad bridge?
So that is kind of through this area here. Are you able to see the cursor? North of the Cheyenne diversion where the lagoons are. Most of those have been decommissioned at this point. We don't anticipate that area really going to
Okay,
residential neighborhoods. We anticipate will probably be more of an industrial and jobs focused
Okay.
area.
all right. So I misunderstood you then when you said, I thought you said in your presentation that you were seeing that the growth is north of I-94. Did you mean residential specifically, or just in general for the city of West Fargo? And then my second question to that is, what are the city limits of West Fargo? How far does West Fargo now extend? Are you past the Raymond exit or up to the Raymond exit as far as city limits or planning and zoning for the city of West Fargo? I'm a little confused about that.
Yeah, still about a half a mile east of the Raymond interchange currently. The city limits pick up the Cheyenne diversion
Okay,
as you head west, but then that Raymond interchange is outside of the current city limits, but within the city's annexation agreement areas. So an area that the city anticipates growing into at some point.
okay. So when you say it's annexed, Kevin, does that mean that if I propose what I think should go in that corner, that would be a possible annex or the city of West Fargo decision, or an opportunity for us to do business together, so to speak?
Sure, if I may.
Yeah. Aaron, go ahead.
Thank you. I think he's talking about our extraterritorial area. And
Yeah.
Certainly, staff's available to answer questions if you have
Sure.
additional questions.
Okay.
But
Okay. Well, thank you. This is my first meeting, and so I know I've asked a lot of questions that you all have the answers to, so I appreciate your patience with me. And Kevin and then Aaron, perhaps we can meet or talk about some of these things further sometime.
Yep.
So, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Is there any additional public comments? Seeing none, we'll close that part of the item. Any questions, comments from the board here?
I would move to recommend approval and adoption of the growth area plan.
We have a motion to approve and adopt the plan.
Second.
Second? Okay, we got a motion and a second to approve. Any additional thoughts, comments on it? Hearing none, we'll take a vote, please, Brianna.
Commissioner Schwan?
Yes.
Commissioner Fornes?
Yes.
Commissioner Weary?
Yes.
Chair Thorstead?
Yes.
Vice Chair Gust?
Aye.
Commissioner Haas?
Yes.
Commissioner Kopp?
yes.
Commissioner Almond? Yes. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, everybody. Item 4 is a amendment to the general plan for urban renewal and urban development. Consideration of approval. Aaron.
All right, thank you. So this item is presented in response to previous direction from the Planning and Zoning and City Commissions from about 2 months ago. In May of 2026, staff brought forward a request from Beyond Shelter, Inc. for an amendment to the general plan. The purpose of the amendment is to better position the city as well as its nonprofit housing partners when competing for state and federal housing resources, including the state's low-income housing tax credits and other grant and funding, housing funding opportunities. To this end, the amendment included in your packet here adds a new section to the existing general plan titled Housing Revitalization. This new housing revitalization section establishes housing-related objectives that are essentially just a distillation of the West Fargo 2.0 comprehensive plan. There's a chapter on housing and neighborhoods where that information is coming from. The section also identifies 2 different types of priority housing investment areas and includes a new map of the potential mixed-use infill housing areas. Lastly, it also outlines a few implementation techniques to support the housing objectives that are identified. This new section does not alter or replace any of the existing content of the general plan, other than updating formatting, some references to the old comprehensive plan with references to the new comprehensive plan, or the current comprehensive plan, I should say, as well as the update to the document date. As noted last month, the purpose or the reason that this document exists is for compliance with state century code in relation to the use of tax increment financing and other urban renewal strategies that are allowed by state statute. So both the existing and amended versions of the growth area plan, or excuse me, the general plan for urban renewal and urban development are included in your meeting packet for reference. The recommended action tonight is to recommend approval of the amended general plan to the City Commission. And so with that, I'm happy to answer any questions you may have. Otherwise, we do have Christopher Miller with Beyond Shelter, Inc. In the audience tonight, should you have any questions regarding the initial request for amendment.
Okay, do we have any questions for Aaron or Christopher?
Aaron, is this formally codified in city ordinances, or is it just sort of a standalone quasi-law type area that we're in here?
It is in state century code, the requirement for the general plan. I guess I'm not aware of anything off the top of my head that's codified in city ordinance that refers to this plan document. But it is, adopted by resolution, I believe. And so that's the way that it's kind of officially adopted by the city ultimately.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Any additional comments, questions? Hearing none, so you'd like us to approve moving this on? Is that your
Yep.
request?
Looking for a recommendation of approval to the city commission.
Commissioners,
I'll move to recommend approval.
got a motion to approve and a second. Any additional discussion? Hearing none, roll call, I guess we'll go with.
Commissioner Schwan?
Yes.
Commissioner Fornes?
Yes.
Commissioner Weary?
Yes.
Chair Thursted?
Yes.
Vice Chair Gust?
Aye.
Commissioner Osh?
Yes.
Commissioner Kopp?
Yes.
Commissioner Amon? Yes. Thank you.
Carries, motion carries. Any non-agenda items? Anything else? Guess we will move on to adjournment. Motion to adjourn? And a second?
moved.
So moved, second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor may leave. Thank you, everyone.